You may not believe this, but me and Diddy were actually great friends back then. But that changed one day when he did the unthinkable. He called my Le Bon Bon mid. I wasn't gonna stand for it, but he teleported away before I could teach him a lesson. So now, I fear I needed to take matters into my own hands. I am currently outside of Diddy's mansion, which is definitely not a repurposed woodland mansion because I got way too lazy after making Diddy's baby attacks. I won't elaborate any further, but in order to defeat Diddy, I needed to become stronger. I didn't want to disappoint my Le Bon Bon, so I had to lock in. I turned up my werewolf boyfriend ASMR and died. And I also forgot to turn off keep inventory. Don't worry, I'll probably remember to do that later. Diddy's mansion also sets you into adventure mode, so let's just say whoever gets in there becomes vulnerable. I won't elaborate any further. So I went off and explored a little bit. I got my first bits of iron and explored more to maybe find a village. And I actually paused for a little bit because the scenery looked nice. But a nice scenery won't save Diddy from a pankin. I found myself in a taiga, so it'll be pretty good if I find a village. I found a village, and it seemed pretty blacksmith dominant. But I mean, I can't complain. Free loot. We even got ourselves a full set of irons, some obsidian, and... No, I took that as a sign to leave, because Sigmas like me cannot fathom that level of evil. So I went back and tamed some adorable little wolves on the way. I named them Testosterone and Estrogen. Perfect names to make that whore moan. So I took some meat and took them back to the rooftop forest. And there I made a bucket and made another portal. And completely forget that I turned off fire tick. I turned it off because I feared that the mansion would burn because of how fire this challenge is. Absolute dumpster fire, that is. The creative idea of adding a Diddy boss fight to Minecraft. You don't get like this anywhere else. Luckily, the fortress was nearby, and I finally remembered to turn off keep inventory. And while I was inspecting the fortress, I made a psychological discovery. Why the hell am I even in the Nether in the first place? The answer was I do not know. I was getting distracted and I was failing my goat, so I needed to lock in. I turned up my werewolf boyfriend ASMR
I like tummy rubs
and headed straight into the mansion. I went straight up the stairs and got greeted by a bunch of Dr. Disrespect pillagers. There were too many of them, so I bravely ran outside and took them one by one. There were also a few more upstairs, so I carefully looted what I could. Already was Diddy's health bar visible. Revenge was closer than ever. The loot still sucked though. Some bones, gunpowder, melon seeds, and some... No! Evil. I needed to get to Diddy fast before any more jump scares happened. But then I was greeted by a familiar face.
I mean, it's alright, like...
I must. He disrespected my Pookie Bear James.
Overrated as fuck, in my opinion. I mean, you know what though? That's typically how the bull goes. You feel me?
Right, got you. Oh.
I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake and then go back home.
So it seemed like my journey for revenge was still far from complete, because in order to proceed, I first needed a baby villager and some cake. I won't elaborate on how I thought of this. I couldn't transport them by boat because of how slow it is, and the more age, the more unfavorable they are to Diddy. If you replace the first word of the title of this song with his name, that'll be more accurate. I spent some time digging, so you could say I'm a minor. Comment down below if you love majors. Rule 63. The unfunny jokes are what keeps these videos funny. Thank you, Styrotic Static. It is nice to know that my unfunny jokes also contribute. Guys, I just got the achievement, the cutest predator. That's exactly what EDP445 thought he was when he was texting the miner. If you're still watching beyond this point, then hats off to you. You have pretty good tolerance. I was lucky enough to find myself an iron vein. I dug the whole thing raw. Large asterisk on the whole part though, because I pretty much got lazy after 2 stacks. I also wanted to look for some diamonds. Ended up finding another iron vein. Can't complain though, but back to diamonds. I ended up finding them conveniently under the redstone, which I conveniently picked to mine. Conveniently. It was a 4 vein. Pretty good. Maybe I could also conveniently find them here? Haha, nope. Pretty good mining trip. I grabbed myself a diamond pick and some obsidian, and I made the portal way too close to the mansion. This bit me in the ass later on. Keep that in mind. I then went back to the village with the intention of, let's just say, slavery. Think of it as a friendly payback for almost giving me a heart attack earlier. I won't elaborate on that either. Oh, hang on. Who in the world's messaging me? That son of a... This just got personal now. Now I needed to defeat Diddy for LeBron and for my own humility. So I carefully connected my 2 portals. I blindly made this staircase expecting it to be a little bit offset, but to my surprise, it was perfectly lined up. Hell yeah. Crafted some rails and placed them down. I also needed to make a little bridge over here so I didn't have to pull a Sisyphus every time I had to push the villagers. And again, I was able to accidentally align them perfectly. Hell yeah. And when I placed the rails, I had one left over remaining, which is a hell no. Enough of that though, it was time for business. Unlike me, villagers actually prefer to be employed, so it was pretty easy to lure them. But maybe I can also learn to be passionate like they are? Nah, that's ridiculous. Kids, this is what happens when you don't have a job. You end up in an awesome Minecraft video. Hey kids, today we're gonna be forcing 2 villagers to fornicate. Isn't that exciting? We're gonna be learning so much about the human body for legal reasons. That's a joke. Please do not leave your child unattended on the internet. Like this villager who decided to enter the mansion for some damn reason. I traded with the villagers and gave them their own bread to start freaking. And while I was waiting for them, I gathered some ingredients for the cake. Have you guys fornicated yet? No? Okay. I made myself some wheat for the cake, and we officially had one of the 2 things we need. Have you guys intercoursed yet? No? Okay. No rush. I guess while waiting I'll get myself enchanted, because I tell ya, it's one hell of a party. Have you guys made love yet? Good lord. After waiting another 30 minutes, I was suspecting that they either didn't like each other or they were way too close to the woodland mansion. Oh, I know. They didn't like their living space. No big deal, I'll just make them a new one. A much better one as well. Good view, fresh air, and just a little claustrophobic. So what do you think? Are you 2 feeling freaky now? Man, I give up. What did EDP say to get again?
You know what though?
Wait, of course, he didn't specify which child. I could have just brought a baby wolf instead. Alright man, I got what you asked. Can I go in now?
Woo! What's up with it, mother?
Alright, that takes care of that. It was finally time to enact my revenge. I could finally teach Diddy a lesson, not to mess with my king again. Sticky situation. Hell no, man. You guys like my role playing? I spent way too much time making this challenge. I could only assume the floor was filled with baby oil because he seemed way too much into it. I won't elaborate any further. And there he was. It was time to party. Not even a word to say. He just went out and came at me with full force. He really hates LeBron that much. At first, he seemed pretty weak, but when I got his health down, he summoned a bunch of baby zombies to help him fight. They weren't the toughest though, but it seemed like he had multiple phases, like a teenager who spends way too much time on Twitter. I failed on my first attempt, so the fight reset, but I couldn't give up just yet, so I went back for round 2. This time I had a head start and almost died on the first phase. Skill issue at its finest. Aw, he even has a little bedroom for his children. Who knew Diddy liked kids so much? I was able to pick him off slowly, going to phase 2. This time, we had baby zombie pigmen. They were slower, but there were many of them. And because of that, I got overwhelmed. Damn it. A mysterious command block appeared right outside the mansion, and it got my items back, allowing me to go to attempt 3. This time, I did better. Still sucked ass, but I was better. And as you may have noticed there, every time I complete a phase, I get a golden apple as a reward. And also, every time Diddy summons babies, he becomes until all the babies are defeated. It seemed much easier to deal with phase 2 if the babies were separated. So with that newfound knowledge, I was able to proceed to phase 3. This time, he summoned 5 drowns with tridents, netherite chest plates, and baby oils of undying. So in summary, I was completely cooked. Do I even have what it takes to defeat him? Have I failed my goat already? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. That's right, a cliffhanger. My laptop storage is getting full. See you next time. Oh shite.
There was, nothing that was going to be sexual involved.